we doing? Right, we've got a project on, and it's not one that can wait actually. So, for those of you that follow the channel, you'll know we've got a bit of woodland. So we've I'm not sure what quantity there is, but there's enough to get plenty of birds nesting. Anyway, last year I put about 20 boxes up, I think, and we had the usual suspects nesting, but we had the pied flycatchers in, and we've got them in the same box again. Now, we're literally not that far from the house, to be honest, probably, I don't know, 70 yards, something like that, but I don't know if you can see, but just up there we've got a nest. Well, the male's there now, so we've got the pied flycatchers, and they've got a brood of young, and obviously I want to get some pictures of them. Now, we're going to have to set something up here because we've got this bit of a gully that runs over the road, and it runs down into the stream down there. Now, the issue is, I've been, every time I walk up the lane, I just stand here for a couple of minutes and I watch them, and they're in and out. So they've obviously got a brood of chicks and they're feeding them at the moment. So we've got to be quick. We've got to get in there and get some pictures before they fledge. The female's just in the. In fact, wow, one of the young is just at the entrance to the box. So I've got to get these done today, definitely, in the next couple of days at least. So the thing is, there's a load of little branches there, and the male and the female, when they come back and forth, they always land in there, and I could get some cracking shots, but I need to be elevated, I need to be higher up. So the only thing I can think of, bar putting a ladder up against that tree and dangling off the ladder, well, we all know what happened there, don't we? We've from past experience, I've got issues with ladders. So you might not have seen this, but I'll put it on now. Anyway, we escaped unscathed. Well, a bit battered and bruised, but nothing broken. That were a few years ago. Anyway, so we've sacked the ladder idea off. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a scaffolding up. All right, so we're just going to put 2 layers of scaffolding up. We're going to put a platform on it, and then we're going to put the V7 on top of it. So, like I said, it's a little bit of a project. We're going to get it, well, we're going to get it in today. It's a nice day today, actually. The weather's broken recently, and we've had a bit of, you know, skanky weather, but it's all right today. Blue skies. And you need as much light as you can, especially when you're photographing in woodland. It's amazing how dark it can be in a fully leafed woodland. So we're going to try and get as close as we can. I'd like to shoot with the 300-2.8 for that maximum light gathering capability. Who knows, but we want to get to where that little tree is there, and then we can lash the corner of the scaffold into that tree, make it extra secure, and see how it goes. You see the badgers there digging up my driveway, and here again. I must admit, I can't complain about badgers digging up in the garden. What a cracking morning. Amazing, and what a bit of rain does. So fresh. Look at all them ferns. Like a jungle at the moment. So we're just heading up towards the shepherd's hut at the moment, because that's where we've been using the scaffolding. So I managed to I got a full set of scaffolding the other week on Facebook Marketplace, 100 quid. So I have enough to make 3 big towers, and we've got some corner stabilisers as well. So that were a bargain, that. But scaffolding, not just useful for building, fantastic for making a high platform and getting you up there, level with your subject, which is, as you've heard me say before, super important. Flipping heck. This hill don't get any easier. Right, so part of the scaffolding we'll take, I think we'll take 4 down with us, and some corners, some stabilisers. We've got some concrete block as well that we're going to use, and we need a spirit level. I want to get it nice and level. Right, let's get shifting some gear. Right, we've got most of the stuff down. So we've got the scaffolding frames, we've got the diagonals, corner steadies, spirit level. I've decided to move it slightly. So where I was on about putting it here, where that ditch is, it's too much like hard work. So just over there, I'm getting actually nearer to the nest box, but I'm going to conceal it well. The parents are back and forth like I don't know what. So they're preoccupied with feeding them chicks. So we're going to get this up as quietly as we can. I'm going to get a couple of camo nets and scrim nets. I'm going to put them on the front. We have to make a platform then, so we want a nice safe working platform, and then we're going to put the V7 up on top, and hopefully we can get some pictures for you. It's fantastic to watch, and they're so industrious. They must be, I don't know, they're going at it hammer and tongue catching them insects and that for the young, but I just keep seeing one of the young coming up to the entrance of the nest box, so they're not far from fledging. Yeah, we need to get cracking. Okay, right, that's the scaffolding tower's up now. So we've just gone up 2 levels. I've put these corners on. I've got it nice and level. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go down, get that scrim netting, drape it over the front of it. It's not kidding anyone, it just conceals it a little bit. It just gives the birds a little bit more confidence. Then we're going to get a platform on, a working platform, make sure that's secure. It's not going to slip off. Then we're going to put the V7 on top. The birds are still going back and forward like mad. And then one of the chicks is, like I said before, just popping its head out the front. So yeah, great to see. Okay, we've got the platforms up, got 3 lumps of whatever it is, 6x2, piece of plywood on top. That's what the hide's going to sit on top of now. I've lowered it down a little bit because it's quite high, to be honest. I don't want to be too high. So I've got the corner steadies on. It's rock solid now, that. So we're going to get the V6, get one of our little chairs, get it up there. Okay, right, we've got everything we need. So we've got the Tragopan V7, this is the old version, the single door. I've obviously got the 3-door ones now. I'm not going to bother putting the rain canopy on it, I'm just going to put the top hat on it. And we've got our little cockless chair, I'm going to put that in there as well. And the corners, that base that I put on isn't quite big enough to attach the corners to it. Usually I'd screw it down if I was on a solid platform like this. Obviously normally on the ground you just peg them out, but I'm just going to tie the corners. I'm just going to tie it to the scaffolding tower for now. Right, let's get this hide up. What we're going to do, we'll put the hide up. We've got the camo net on the front, and then we're going to leave it, I think, for a few hours. Just let them get accustomed to it. It's nicely hidden in this little patch of hazel, so we've got some natural cover as well. And obviously, you know, like I said, the birds are that busy in and out feeding them chicks, that brood of chicks. There's the male, just in and out, brilliant. Not my usual mode of transport, but it works. So we've grabbed the barra, it flies. Right, we'll ditch that, we don't need that. This weather doesn't know what to do. So we're literally 20 feet from the hide. We put the hide up yesterday. As I said at the beginning, we needed to get it up with a bit of a sense of urgency really, because I could see the chicks popping their heads out of the box. So if I was going to get any photographs of them, you know, we had to do it within 24, 48 hours. So it's the day after, we've had the hide up. I put some extra concealment on it, on the stabiliser legs, and as I've been up and down, walking up and down, we've been passed in the car, and they're coming in, you know, every minute, feeding like mad, so now's the opportunity. So I brought minimal stuff. I brought 3 lenses up with me. So we've got the 500 f4, I've got the 300 2.8, and I've got the 180 to 600, because, well, you might just have been able to see then, it's changing all the time. And the thing is, when you're photographing in a woodland as well, it can be dark, especially this late on in the breeding season, if you will, where we're in full leaf now, and sometimes, you know, the sun, depending on where it is in the sky, it only has to change a couple of degrees and you might get a lovely shaft of light coming through the foliage, and then 30 seconds later, you know, it's changed completely and it's gone dark again where you're photographing. So that's the reason why I brought these 3 different lenses. And well, I'll explain when we're up in the hide, but sometimes I find the 180 to 600s are a little bit quicker at getting focused on your subject, because you can zoom out, you can track it a bit better, especially when I'm doing video as well. So we'll get in the hide now, we'll get set up. I've already put a tripod up there, I put a smaller tripod up and a small video head. It's a little bit cramped up there, so let's get up there now. We're in with all the clobber that we brought with us. Well, like I said, we haven't brought too much, to be honest. I've just brought a little pack there with some lens cleaning stuff, and a couple of lens wipes, brushes and what have you. So as I said before, yeah, it's a bit shaky up here. I brought them 3 lenses with me. We're in the V7, it's elevated, not too high, only 6 foot, but it's enough to give me that eye level view. So what I'm going to do, because Daft Lad here left the hide out for about 6 months, and I left the bag out with all the screens and the lens covers and all that, and I don't know, I think it were mice that got in and they chewed them all to bits. So there's no rules when you're in a hide. You can, you know, you do what you want with them. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to open, I've got this big opening, pull them little tabs, and that opens that up. You can just roll that up out of the way, and then we've got a nice big clear opening. We'll sit there, we'll go with the 500 first. They're already there feeding, and I've not even got any concealment on. So that's fantastic to see. They're so confident. The hide isn't bothering them at all. If it was, I wouldn't be here. I'd take it straight down. So stick the 500 on. I've just got my little Sirui carbon tripod today. Not the big one. Not really required, to be honest. And then all I'm going to do, I've just brought a bit of scrim. Probably don't need it, to be quite honest, but it won't do any harm. Put that over there and just wrap it around the poles. It still gives me a visual, but it just conceals a little bit. There. I've still got a gap that I can see through. Right, that's us bedded in. Let's see what we can get. Now with this type of photography, where you're sat in a hide, you can afford to slow everything down. It's not like you're out in the field walking about. It's not as dynamic as that. You have the luxury of time. So what I like to do, I say to, you know, people that come down the hide, just sit there and watch. So, you know, it's dead easy to want to, you know, start firing shots away. But if you just use that first 20 minutes, half an hour, just sit here, and then you start to see those patterns of behaviour. You start to see where the birds are coming in, which direction they're coming in, where they're landing, how long they're landing for, you know, all those kind of things that you can use to your advantage. So we've just been sat here for 15 minutes and already I can see a regular pattern. So both parents are coming in regularly, feeding the young, and they're coming in mostly from the right hand side. They're landing in these small hazel trees where it's really difficult to get a good shot actually, and then they're coming in and they're landing on one particular tree branch, and there's a piece of ivy there, and 95% of the time they're landing in that same spot and then down into the nest box and away, and they're landing, and it's probably for about half a second, really quick. And already I know I'm going to struggle if I'm looking through the viewfinder. I've got that tunnel vision, so I'm not seeing which way they're coming from or when they're likely to come in. So what I like to do in this instance is using the viewfinder. So I've got the viewfinder on there. I'm not actually looking through the eyepiece. Forget that, because I'm looking through the opening that I've created in the hide. I've got the camera set up, I've got my focus point where 95% of the time they are landing, and then I'm looking out here. So I've got it on 3D at the moment. That seems to be working well. And then all I'm doing, like I said, I'm looking out, and then once they've taken off from there, I know that they're going to land in that spot, and as soon as they land I can fire away, and that's a massive advantage of not looking through the eyepiece. we've had a couple of hours photographing now, and the thing is, I've had a few different shots, if you will, and you know, a couple of times they have landed on different branches, and I managed to get a few different ones. But as I said before, they're landing in pretty much the same place all the time. So a lot of the pictures you're going to see at the end are probably in the same, you know, the same pose and on the same branch, if you will. But the photos that I put on, I just want to kind of highlight the variety of food that they're bringing in. It's unbelievable, and there's so much food going now. I don't know how many chicks are in the nest box, but flipping out, they aren't off. These parents are grafters. Honestly, they are backward and forward, and you know, literally every 30 seconds, 50 seconds, whatever, they're back and forward, you know. And the quantity and the variety of food, they're certainly not going to get bored anyway. I've seen them bringing beetles back, ladybirds, all manner of flies, and like mosquitoes and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, they're certainly not going to get bored with the variety of food they're tucking into. A few kamikaze flies keep landing on the box. I thought, if you're a fly, it's not the best place to land, is it, on a pied flycatcher? Isn't it? I keep saying fly pycatcher, but a fly pycatcher. I think they have them up in Wigan, don't they? That's a northern joke. Well, I think that's a wrap for this one. We've got a bucket full of shots. We've got some lovely pictures of the flycatchers. Well chuffed with them. I say, now's a chance to subscribe if you haven't done. Really appreciate all the support. Those of you that have bought me a coffee in the last couple of weeks, thanks very much. Really appreciate that. Again, we've been buying trees with that money, so it's all going towards the rewilding project. Yeah, fantastic. I'll tell you what I want to mention as well. I want to mention the bird fair. So if you haven't been to the bird fair, it's a fantastic event. I think I'll put the dates up now. I'm sure it's the 11th, 12th and 13th of July. So it's at Rutland. It's there every year, and it's a brilliant event. Anyone that's into photography, bird photography, you name it, anything to do with wildlife really, there's all sorts there. It's a fantastic 3-day event, all sorts of speakers and events on, and all the big camera manufacturers are there, and tour operators, artists. Oh, it's a fantastic, really good event. If you haven't been, get yourself there. It's well worth going. So I'm going to be there again this year with Tragopan. So if you do get there, come over, have a chat. Yeah, it'd be nice to see some of you. So again, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for the continued support, and we'll see you on the next one.